Keith Richard, Master Casting Instructor, with part 2 of accessories to consider when you're fly fishing. Another accessory I'd like to talk to you about is your life jacket. Okay, this is an inflatable one that automatically inflates if I should fall in the water, or you can pull it to manually inflate it. Simply goes around your head and straps around your waist. When you get one, if you get one of these, be sure to test it. Myself and a friend had 2 identical jackets like this. Neither one of them worked when we got them. We had to send them back to the manufacturer to have them refurbished. So make sure your vest works. Another accessory, if you're going to be wading, a true story, I have fallen in every time I fly fish and waded that I did not have a walking staff. This is a walking staff that folds up and then assembles itself. You put this around your waist to keep it in its pocket, help you get around in flowing water. If you're in water, even if it's a foot, 18 inches, if it's fast enough, it can be very unsteady for you. Or if there's a lot of algae or slime on the water, don't take a gamble. Buy you a walking staff. There's a lot of them on the market right now. Something else you want to consider is if you're going to be dry fly fishing is a type of floatant. Doesn't matter what kind, just get a quality floatant. All right, you're going to need your flies. To consider your flies, they may be coming in. You may have them stored in a smaller box as this, or they may be in a nice padded container like this, where there's some felt inserts that you can put your streamers on. I like to use that for my streamers. Don't forget your camera. Of course, we all carry cell phones with us. The problem is most of the cell phones are not waterproof, so you want to have a camera that's waterproof. A friend of mine gave me a bell to wear when I'm in grizzly country. They say that you can always tell the difference between a black bear and a grizzly scat by the number of bells in the scat. All right, so carry your bell with you in grizzly country so they can identify the grizzly or if it's a black bear. One thing you might want to consider, especially if you're tying very small flies. You know, these flies here are 18, 20, 22s, very, very small. I can't see the eye on the fly to tie it, so I use, they have these called tie ride tools that when you pinch them, when you push on it, it exposes a little tip here that goes inside the eye of the hook, and that gives you a third hand. So you're kind of holding the fly with this. You're not trying to hold a little bitty fly with your fingers. You're holding it with this, and you can always carry, if I'm going to be fishing dry flies, always carry my magnifier on my hat so that I can tie my fly with my magnifier. Okay, so that's a consideration. You might want to consider, if you're in grizzly country or bear country, a whistle, some type of nipping tool to where you can trim your dry flies, if that's a consideration. Different size tippets. This goes from anywhere from 3 pounds to 10 pounds on my spool of tippets. You might want to, if you're consider something to a hand sanitizer if you're going to be cleaning your fish out on the stream. If you're a diehard and you want to get the water temperature, you might consider bringing a thermometer so that you can possibly predict when the caddises or when the mayflies are going to be coming off. You might want to consider bringing a file, a little sample container. Here's a sample of a salmon fly that I picked up on my last trip out west. You might want to consider some sunglasses that you can slip over your glasses, sunglass clips. Make sure they're polarized and preferably in amber color. Where waders are concerned, I like to use hip boots whenever possible. They're not as hot, not as bulky, not as heavy, easier to get on and off than waders. So consider hip boots. Consider bringing some type of indicator This is called BioStrike. You can use it as an indicator. If you've got boots that are felt line, come in a stocking foot, as these boots do, these hip boots have a stocking foot, you need to get you some boots that will cover the stocking feet. Consider using one with studs as opposed to a boot with felt, because felt will hold on to spores and transfer exotics wherever you go for the next 10 years. These studs are a lot easier to clean off. I'm Keith Richard, Master Casting Instructor with Fly Fishers International, wishing you tight lines and tight